Hello and welcome everyone to the first ever weekly non briefing. This is your
Yeah.
weekly event. I'm JPN, and joining me today are Jip and Toshi. Welcome, welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
everyone. Woo! First weekly non-briefing. I love it.
The weekly non briefing is your place to keep up with the ecosystem as we progress, as the NONnation evolves. We're coming to you every week, talking a little bit about the ecosystem, what the latest happenings are, and giving technical updates here as we progress. Today,
Yep.
two main topics we want to talk about are the marketing strategy that was unveiled end of last week with an article,
Yep.
and the new news, which is the new economics of the new non-token. We're going to cover both of those here today, and get everyone's thoughts on those, why we're progressing that way, and of course, after this event, there will be an AMA. So there'll be a link to a thread here, and we will jump on a Twitter Spaces the day after this premieres, and you can ask us your questions, and we'll go ahead and answer them. But this is
Right.
the weekly non-briefing, and starting off today, marketing. What's happening there, Toshi? I know we recently unveiled what our big sort of marketing strategy is, very broad, and it involved three tiers. Do you want to walk us through what those three tiers are and why we're choosing a three-tiered approach?
yep, yep. So, uh, it's interesting. Um, so, the three-tier thing is a combination of different factors. So one is uh, maintain like the maintain like a good quality, but try to reach a broader audience as possible into different ways.
Yep.
Uh, because crypto is changed, our industry is changed, and I think because like if you think about like 2017, it was or 16, it was about like uh, project to consumer in general, and but with complex, low attention things like white papers and
Yep.
like very technical and philosophical conversation and so on. Um, and I have to say, like, I come from this mindset, even if now things have changed.
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I read I
Second,
read a bunch of white papers when I was starting out in the space. That's where
Same
we were.
here.
Yeah,
That's
I
where you'd
think
go to get the alpha.
yeah.
Yep.
I remember that time. I really like. I organized my time and stuff. I also like did courses to read faster, to be able to read like from
Nice.
5 to 8 white paper a day in like 2 hours of my day.
Mainline the alpha.
So yeah, it was, and yeah, but like like I remember it a lot, and I remember that at some point, like during the ICO bubble, there was like people who like write white paper would get earn like crazy money just to write a white paper. It
Just for
was
a
a
white
crazy
Yep.
paper.
thing into this
Hmm.
moment. I remember that, and yeah, so then the industry in 2019, 2020, like the new industry started, like the real industry, I think, aside from the hype, with the DeFi, with
Yep.
MakerDAO, DAI, Uniswap, us, and so on. And then
Yep.
after this, there was the VC moment when the industry became very stagnant. So the real like people in the
Yeah.
space that make like as a market maker of different communities and stuff was VCs. And at some point, like after what I call the Elon moment. So when Elon started to shill, and there was like the crazy part that he started like low QI, not low QI, sorry, low attention span consumer coming into the space, and the space totally changed. But let's grab a bit.
Yeah.
So I strongly believe, and I can say here that after 2020, the industry was totally stagnant. So the VC moment was
Yep.
the first moment for the entire history for two reasons. Like
Yep.
I don't talk about 8Z16 paradigm, so real smart investors. They are few.
Yep.
They made a lot of money. They made good project. They backed what they should backed, and everything was okay. I mean, the problem is that these are 3, maybe 4 out of 200, and all of these 200, they just invested into, okay, so a copy of this, but into another chain, or a copy of that here with this slightly change, and okay, so let's let's invest on it, create hype, do an airdrop, and then just dump the token in front of the face of the people because doing marketing, and then just go away. And I feel at the time that the industry was totally stagnant in everything. And there was like some jokes internal that, oh man, I think from me about, oh man, I think we are the only one who are actually programming in Ethereum. But by the way, that's another thing. And and then there is like, on top of this, there was the meme starting. Because, okay, I will try to be as short as possible, okay? Sorry if I'm very, very long into this.
No, that's good. That's what this is for, yeah.
There was like the meme moment, and the meme moment is started with this new consumer into the space which have a very low attention span. So it's just like, a betting stuff. Okay, oh, I just invested this and tomorrow die, but it's okay because I just made money on top of someone, and it's kind of like this.
Right.
And nobody into the space, nobody. Even Vitalik said this. Nobody expected both because like I think that meme and NFTs, they are like in the same boat about this. Like nobody expected the big NFT period and the big meme period. Nobody expected this. Nobody into the space. And that's very interesting how the industry changed from this. So now what is the crypto scene, okay, in general? So VCs are out, except for few, but most of them, they're totally out. They lose a lot of money because VC is not a thing for crypto, because crypto is fast. Crypto is unregulated. So what is happening is crypto is that like
even
I
now
love
you
Coinbase.
see A16Z. Yeah.
So I love Coinbase. I love everything which is regulated. But for now, the winner is Binance. For now, the winner is Tether. Even if I don't like how they move into the ecosystem, because like this is what is happening. And so even if we have a very technical project, a very legit project, a project I think that will change everything into the space, we should give to people what they want. Because if not, we are just, a couple of programmers, a couple of like amateur community who just like to say, oh, that contract is very cool, man. Oh yeah, it's very cool. But nobody grow, nothing grow. And so our strong direction into marketing is because we don't want to left behind in any way. We want, so we have a huge mission. We have a huge product. Okay. What we want is to create this ecosystem that, okay, so it's difficult to explain. We are improving, but we want to create this ecosystem that actually will drive all of the project into Ethereum, like making these standards that let people create project, do innovation without care about, building the whole structure every time, without care about having FUD, because like, there is exploit here and there, and just having this industry grow fast. Okay. It's like, okay, so we have computers and we have this, like non-UI thing in the beginning where people just wrote the application and they use the application by the terminal. And at some point there is someone who says, oh, that's the mouse. Okay. It's like this kind of change, in my personal opinion. And it's also like why I'm here. I'm so hyped every day from what we do in background. And or if you want another, like metaphor, it's like we have this Far West at the moment, like where there's no standard, like the Far West before the civilization or something. Okay, there is no standard. People just come here and there, and even
literally a
free
project,
you're not secure. if they're scamming or not every single time.
Right.
And so like putting the basics for people to build, to manage the economy of their protocol, not to manage their protocol, but the economy of their protocol, to let people secure about, okay, I invest this, okay, I participate in this, okay, I trade in this, or I invest in this by the ICO or something, with zero assumptions about, oh, this is secure, oh, this will steal my money, oh, this will hack my wallet, or so on. And that's I think is so important, because like, it's like,
Imagine how much real innovation is going to come when people can be secure by these things. This is why we don't see real value and why we don't see real innovation, is because people can't be secure by these things, and they never know. This money that I put in this ICO or this project that I back, it could go away tomorrow. Better just put 1%, right? They can't be secure by these things, right? So imagine the real innovation that will flow once these things change.
Yeah, exactly. But let's come back into the main topic and finish it. Sorry if I talk too much.
We're rabbit holing.
So okay. So the thing is this, okay. So we are near this big release that people are waiting for more than 1 year. Okay, that's the thing. Okay. But if we don't go into marketing at this moment, if we don't grow our community, nobody cares. So we release the application and nobody cares. It will be very harder after to grow. Okay. And so this is the moment that we decide to start this. Okay. And we do our own researches. Like as everything, we try to, do something which is different, which is new. Try to approach things in a different way. And we do the same in marketing. So now the industry is low attention span for most of this, because you see, like, we are talking about secure ICO, but the trend now is to just send the money to a wallet, like ban.in thing. So that's a reality. Okay, that's a reality. And so if we want to grow, if we want to have every project on us, we should give to people what they want to achieve our final
product
goals.
fit.
Okay.
Right.
Product fit and marketing fit also. And so, okay. So what people want today? So there is like a portion of people. So imagine you have Apple. So there is like people who look at the Apple events. Like there is Apple events like in today's from the recording date, which is not so the same date that
it's a big development.
yesterday for you, I'd say. But by the way, there is the Apple event, and it's like few people who watch this. Other people watch the advertising on Apple, watch the newspaper and this kind of thing. And there's other people who just watch, I don't know, guys who shot into the iPhone and see that the iPhone doesn't broke. So yeah, fuck it, yeah, this iPhone is strong, and this kind of thing. Okay, that's the thing, and you should care about all of these people if you want to do good marketing. And so, what we want to do is exactly this. So we have this. If you follow, for example, NONnation HQ on Twitter, NONlabs HQ. Sorry, I don't remember the Twitter of the. So yeah, what a bad. So if you follow NONlabs HQ, you have one kind of more technical content, which is more like articles and these kind of things. And yeah, so this is the kind of content. Then there is like another kind of content which is more like to help people to learn about what we're doing and to be hyped about our products and to become our customer in the future, but in generally also like to follow us and to try to understand how our product can change their life, can change their businesses, can change their product and everything, which is the tier 2, which is exactly like what newspapers, advertising, and the second level, which is not the Apple event, do, like Apple as an explain, or Microsoft, or whatever other company. And this is for this, so it would be like a lot of shorts, a lot of like interesting things, and this would
product
be like
explaining.
the second level. And then there is the level that everyone always wanted, but we never give to them, which is like which is like the tier 3. So the tier 3, so
Yeah.
what we figured out, like following different communities and study hard about marketing, is that I remember in the early days of this industry, talking about prices, trading, and this kind of stuff was meant as not legit. Okay. Now
Yep.
people are changed. People are changed totally.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like it's like one of the first phase of how much crypto will change our us as a humanity in terms of our culture. Okay. So now talking about
Mm-hmm.
prices,
Mm-hmm.
trading, uh, pump, dump, and these kind of things is part of our culture. Is part of crypto, and a lot of companies are just doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
so this will be so important also to have
Yeah.
this part of community. Okay.
Yep.
Because
You're
like
absolutely right. The space has evolved, and we are moving to match the space. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And it's like to say that there is no people like that talk about trading when they talk about Apple stocks. Yeah, continue like the Apple thing. So there is
Right.
Yeah.
also this,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there is no memes and there is
Exactly.
no other things. And there is a lot of communities about Nasdaq trading. Even if I never been there, but I'm sure there is on Reddit somewhere. But let's go forward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so the tier 3 is about this, okay? Talking with these guys and talking the language of these guys. And it will be very
Yeah.
cool because
Yeah.
we also do a thing. Every one of you from now on, and you will always have something with us every single day. Like both so in the tier 3, there will be every day some quests, like some quests with some giveaway, with something to grow, and this kind of community, like a lot of relationship with KOL, influencer, and these kind of things. And
Yep.
because yeah, so this works. And so if you're doing like a legit product which really exists, which is really usable, and which is really decentralized, why not using it? Why?
Right.
It can only just grow
Right.
our community. And this is
Yeah.
the tier 3. It will be so fun, actually. I looked into the background about what the team is creating, and it will be very, very fun, actually. It
Yeah.
will start also
Nice.
by this week in general.
Nice.
And talking about the tier 1 and the tier 2. So, like JPN already like say something about this into the early part of this. Like it will basically like this. So, like we have on Monday, like the podcast. We have the
Yep.
Q&A of the podcast the day after. We have on
Yep.
Wednesday the these exactly kind of events, and we have the
Yep.
MAA the day after, and we have on
Yep.
Friday our in-depth articles. And on top of this, we
Yep.
will have different tweets that explain pieces of the article, that explain pieces of the events, and with shorts and a lot of these things to help people as much as possible to be
Yep.
connected with everything happen. And
Yeah.
and so yeah,
Absolutely.
it will be very interesting because now is the moment that our job is not to build this, but is to make you as much more connected with the product, with us, and to what is
Right.
happening. And there is a lot of things that we have to say
Yeah.
because I mean about so we have this internal thing that we built a lot of things, and the information that are outside they're very few, and so there is a lot of things to say about what's pumped up
Yeah.
in this year, and so it will be very very fun
Yeah.
actually. It will be very very fun.
I agree. It's been hard. It's been hard for 12 to 18 months being so tight-lipped, and about what we're building and things like this. And
Oh yeah.
I think to your point, right? If in the beginning of the project, the mission, we're building a product to change everything about Ethereum and the way people build things like this. We really wanted price to be in the background in these kind of discussions because the mission is so important for people to understand the implications of how the space will change and what we're building and how big this is. But you're absolutely right. This is the time, because NONnation, right? I mean, it's for builders, users, and investors as well, for people to understand right? And just how powerful holding the NONnation token, right, and holding non can be as an investor as well, and how the financial model of the ecosystem will benefit them, and we'll get into that more in that, but yeah, an event every day, right? And the weekly non briefing and the AMA, it's going to be great. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be so much for the community to dive into, and I really feel like they're going to find a lot of meat on the bone. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just to summarize for everyone, so 3 tiers of marketing. We have tier 1 is NONlabs HQ. These are, official updates, developer
Yep.
updates. These are geared towards likely either people just following the project to receive, general updates, but it's also going to include,
Partnerships. Yep.
yeah,
Things like
it's going to
this.
include
Yep.
partnerships. It's going to include the business to business part. It's going to include people who want to really develop and build on top of our stack, as well as
Yep.
general updates. Then you have tier 2. Tier 2 is non-viral for the most part, a little bit from
Yep.
NONlabs HQ, but these are going to be educational pieces of content. This is going to be infographics. This is going to be shorts. This is going to be the podcast.
Yep. Yep.
Going over news. How do our tools
Yep.
fit into the broader
Yeah.
ecosystem?
User tutorials on the
Yeah.
platform, all these kind of things, right?
And it's really designed for people who are going to be consumers of or use our products sort of as is. They're not necessarily building, massive things on top of them, trying to deeply integrate, but they're going to, these are going to be people who launch, entities. These are going to be people who launch tokens
Yep.
with the token factory, stuff like that. So
Yep.
we want to educate them, give them how you can use these tools, leverage these tools to your advantage to make your product. And then we have tier 3, and as Toschi was saying, this is the speculator sort of tier. This is the people who are looking at the token, looking at the potential of the project, and want to speculate on it, want to meme on it, want to, as we call them, they're the degens. But we love
Yep.
the degens.
That's right. That's right.
This is your memes. This is the people who are going to spread it by word of mouth, because developers, they might talk to developer friends, but over the kitchen table, they're not telling other people about, how to integrate, this developer SDK or whatever.
Right.
But someone shoots an iPhone with a 50 cal rifle or something. That's a video they might talk to their friends about.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, imagine
yeah,
how much money have to spend and do R&D Apple or Samsung every single year. And you know what they figured out? That people want a 100x camera, and they build the Samsung with this. So this is the thing. And they have a lot of other features into the phone, which are also important, and they change the way of our lives. But to sell them, they figured out that this is what people want.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
so
Exactly.
this is the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I couldn't say it better myself. From a marketing perspective, we are moving to a market fit, right? With our approach, and the 3-tiered structure is genius, because this, we have to be communicating on all those levels, because you're right, there's absolutely different user bases of the non ecosystem and the non product, Toschi.
Now I say a thing that if our marketing go good, this will become a very massive meme. Okay, so that's the thing now. In this specific,
clip is short.
Okay, in this specific industry moment, tech is not sexy, and so the only way, if you have a tech project, is to make it sexy, and the only way to make sexy is this. That's it.
Yep. Agreed.
The industry
When
is
people
changing.
come in and when they use the product, right, they're going to understand, right? Wow. Like when they come in and they can literally click together and launch a token securely, almost instantaneously, they're going to understand, right? But you're right. We have to draw them in first, right? To be able to use the product, right? And so that's what this 3-tiered approach, and just throwing everything at the wall, right? It's geared towards, and it's going to go well. So I'm very excited.
Oh, for sure. And then sort of tied into the 3-tier system is our time frame for the marketing. This is the start of the marketing
Yep.
blitz right here. This is week one. This is part of week one right now.
Yep.
Um, and the idea right now is to generate good content that helps explain what we're doing, what's expected, how things are going to be looking for the coming future, have content that we can point back to going forward. And we're getting closer to the full blitz. I think there's sort of a second phase to this as launch happens, when we are that's when the sponsored tweets get clicked on. Right now we're trying to
Yeah.
build some of the following. We're trying to get some of the base level what we're doing out there, get it to everyone, get them educated. But there's more gonna be coming in the future as well. So I don't know,
Right.
Toshi, do you wanna talk on that a little bit? What's sort of the how's the strategy gonna evolve? This is the start of it, and as we said, weekly events, daily events here right now. How does that continue to evolve as we go forward?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, um, I think that we have like two big mission now. So before the release, we have the big mission to make this very famous, and right after we have the big mission of like eat all Ethereum in terms of projects
Yeah.
and users and so on. So it will not be easy, but
Let's go.
we will try our best, and I think we will be successful in this. I'm sure 100%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And yeah.
I think that it will change also. Like we can also like start to like I don't know, create some content which inviting people who decide to build in this instead of regular things. So
Yeah.
there is, for example, like some conversation we can do about Uniswap governance, but I think we will do in another episode, even if it's so perfect to talk about this now.
Yep.
But we'll talk in another episode. So follow
But
us.
I
Don't
can
forget to
say,
click the
because
follow button.
that's right. Click like and subscribe and follow. And
Yeah.
this schedule, like you guys were talking about, I mean, this is week in and week out. This is daily. Like what Toshi says, like this is this is not just for next week. This is every week, right? Monday podcast, Tuesday non-viral Q&A, Wednesday weekly non-briefing, Thursday AMA, Friday article release, tier 3, everyday activities, things like this. And I know because Toshi's been working day and night over the last month, and I've been working with him a lot more than me because I've been busy moving, but setting up these marketing flywheels, getting everything set up in the background, everything relational, so that we can track posts, so that we can look at metrics, so that we can analyze how our performance with marketing is going, things like this, right? So that we can set up this flywheel and analyze in real time with the data studio. Okay, this is doing well, this is not doing well, and be able to really turn it on. So we've been saying for a while now, marketing is turning on, right? And people are really kind of starting to see it. But there's so much prep work with the systems and things that go along in the background to make sure that this effort has traction and is repeatable and sustainable. So, I know you've been doing a lot of late nights, Toshi. So I want to thank you for your efforts. I'm sorry I couldn't have been there more while I've been moving stuff, but these systems are going to stick because we have set them up right, to be able to be repeatable and have that marketing flywheel. So I'm excited for
Yeah.
that.
I want to underline for someone in Discord that my late night is not because I do fancy Dubai live, but it's because I'm working at the computer. Sorry, but because
That's
there is this
right.
thing into Discord now
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
which
If you guys could
unfortunately
see the
is not
team
like this.
channels, yeah. If you guys could see the team channels, right? It's like he hops from one office to another team office to another team office, right? Of like
Yeah.
going through and all these things. So when people see the platform release and they literally understand of like, oh God, eat all of Ethereum, they weren't joking. Like they will understand what went into building this. So yeah, no, I saw that comment as well, Tosh. They were probably joking, but yeah, there's no Dubai
Yeah.
life this year, unfortunately, with the release. Maybe next year. when we have things on cruise control. So,
Yeah.
but I'm excited. Obviously, non-viral. We play a huge part in the tier two marketing, and speaking for myself, right? I've been working to get those systems set up as well, and for shorts and for user tutorials and driving content, and we've been building a repository of content and things like this. The marketing channel has been a little bit quiet over the last couple of weeks. While we've been doing these setup activities, but really excited to start generating content. And like you said, Toschi, I mean, tier three, there'll be a quest every single day. Well, tier two as well, there will be something every single day for users to dig into and to understand in depth about certain parts of the protocol or the platform and things like that. So there's going to be a lot there for everybody who's
Yeah,
really excited to dig in deeper.
yeah. There will be two kind of people who always stay home, like one who play World of Warcraft and the other who follow known. I think.
That's
Yeah,
right.
wait, that's maybe
That's
cringy,
right.
but I just said.
No,
Yeah, okay.
no, that's non is a force, and it'll be me like on Diablo 4. It'll be three type of people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
But
talking about World of Warcraft now maybe sounds very boomer, but it's okay.
Still relevant. Still relevant.
but
Well,
Yeah.
moving on.
non is a force to be reckoned with, right? With the token and things like this, and it may be a good time to segue into right because
Into the tokenomics, yes.
into the tokenomics. I mean, literally, right? There is, their growth is, first and foremost, right? I mean, how, growth strategy is how these tokenomics are set up. And so, yeah, we should dive deep into it so people can really understand why we're moving. Because just like with marketing, we're moving, right, for product fit as well and market fit. And
Yep.
so let's jump into that.
Yeah, so we'll move into the next part, and I think we covered this on the podcast as well some this week. But we want to jump into the article that was released last Friday about the new non-token and the new features that are going to be included, including the burn fee and the royalty fee. And Toschi, these are part of this token is going to come from something that's brand new for our protocol. This a new token factory that we're setting up, sort of to replace items here. But the goal is to have these on-chain token factories where when you launch a token through one of these, it doesn't have some secret rug all function
Right.
associated with them. It is going to be verifiable on chain that you are getting an ERC20, and yeah, it'll have a lot of different features that are potential in the token, but it's not going to be a I am just going to rug you immediately because I made a malicious contract. These are going to be verifiable on chain through the factory. You can push out tokens, making it easy and potentially very cheap to create communities, get communities around new tokens. So non's going to come. The new non is going to come from one of these, one of the new token factories, the ERC21. And what's all going to be included in it? Some of it was talked about in the article, but Toschi, do you want to walk us through what the new non token looks like?
Yeah. So, first of all, let me jump for a second into the factory, if I can. Just very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
1 minute. So, the mission of the new interface for the NONnation, it's like this. So, okay, with each item, for a lot of reasons that I will talk into another episode. And we
That'll
have
be another
this,
one of these. We have it
yeah.
scheduled.
And there is these factories for NFTs, so 1155 and ERC20 so tokens. And so the idea is to create like all the function possible that people want to use, and with like these granular ownership. So you have the basic ownership, which is just metadata and options about the royalty, for example, which work in the Bazaar, or for ERC20, I think only in the Bazaar at the moment. For maybe people will build something about, but for now it's only the Bazaar for ERC20. and then you have the ownership for every single thing. So if you want to create a token who have, like burnable, you can put it and you can say if this is changeable or not, and you can just remove this single ownership. Same for reflection, if you want to add a reflection. Same if you want to add like an excluded list for people who don't pay any tax or smart contracts. Same for a block list, for example, and everything, which is like one of other like huge problem like there is in the space, because there is a lot of tokens who have these things, but there is only one ownership, which doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Because
Right.
imagine like to remove something that can be useful without doing anything bad for others, you should remove everything. Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
And also
Yep.
like into the interface, finishing the thing, imagine you have CoinGecko plus DEX tools decentralized, and so everything for whenever is an NFT collection, an ERC20 from us or from outside, once interact with some of our things. So create a DAO, create a pool on the Bazaar, create I don't know, like an ICO or whenever, or do a farming, it's automatically listed into us, into the NONnation. And if they have the ownership, like the ownership standard, they can change metadata without need to have this, like asking to someone to change something and so on, which most of the token out there, they have ownership for something or
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
And for our tokens, obviously, it's perfect because when you have the regular ownership, metadata is something you can change. And so this would be very cool because you have like the most secure and verifiable place on Ethereum, where there is no more like a bro saying, okay, oh, I know this guy is from Etherscan, and so he just ask
Right.
a list, or this kind of things.
Right.
It's real data from
Right.
the owner of the token.
Yep.
And all of the security stuff of it, just because it exists. And you can have all of the DAO which are involved with this, all of the pools which are involved with this, and everything, the yield and so on. Or for the ICO, you can start an ICO and say, okay, so this money will go there, this money will go that, this money will go that, and it's zero assumption that you get scammed. So
Yep.
all of these things together. So that's the end goal of these things. Okay, but let's talk about our specific economy, about the economy of the NONnation and the economy of Non specifically. So since the beginning, like our own end goal for the economy, because it is to having an inflationary and deflationary token at the same time, and some kind of economy who make it use it, the whole infrastructure and stuff. And so the usage of it make it deflationary, and so you can sustain an inflation or having like a few weeks inflation and make it a very valuable asset. Because like for example, if you take like Ethereum, okay, so Ethereum is inflationary and infinite, technically speaking, okay, but why is so valuable? Because you have like a deflationary system, which is not like someone say, oh, let's just halve every 4 year. I'm Satoshi, I'm treated as God for a lot of Bitcoin maximalists. And yeah, it's cool, but there is no mathematical paper who say that this is realistically sustainable. Because for everything there is a project, or for everything you need two things. So one is, okay, if you have a layer one blockchain, is security budget. If you have a project, okay, is like, okay, you can do it in a centralized way. You can say, oh, I will put my token into Binance. I will have these team tokens and I will add liquidity there. Okay, it's okay. But we are trying to create a standard for a future where there is no such things. And so, like for example, having farming is fundamental for a project. So having liquidity into MM is fundamental. It will be more and more fundamental, because if a token is not liquid on Uniswap, I will never buy it if I don't have on-chain liquidity. Okay, that's the first thing. When you are interested into a project or into a token, I strongly believe that the liquidity is the most important thing, because if the liquidity is not there, Finished.
Yeah. It's dead.
It
Exactly.
doesn't have value.
It doesn't matter if it's worth
Underlying
$1,000 a token.
sustainable. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you
And
can
so all of
sell,
these
a
things,
half a token at $1,000 and the rest is at $3, your token's not $1,000. $3.
No, it's not.
it's
Exactly.
$3.
Exactly.
In fact, it would be interesting
Yeah.
if someone built like a market cap and a way of understanding the value of token you have in wallets, not based on the price per token, but based on the price per token / the liquidity into the market.
Liquidity.
And that would be very interesting information, especially for tax people that they don't tax you for something that you can't sell tomorrow at this price. It would be very interesting.
Right.
But by the way, let's go forward.
That'd be an interesting metric, a true value metric. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
No, I think that makes liquidity like a good metric to track for protocols is, how liquid they are.
That's amazing. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Build that into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Let's look at a thing. So can I do, for example, a simple thing? If you look at in a very financial way. So look at PEEP. Okay, it's valued more than 1 billion market cap at some point, but the liquidity was just
Pepe. Yep.
20 million.
Yep.
We have a 3 million market cap, but the liquidity is like 400K, from 300K to 600K, just like sometimes more, sometimes less.
Right.
So our price is less, but it's more realistic than something which is valuable 1 billion, but you have 50 million liquidity, if you think about this.
Right.
By the way, let's go forward.
Right.
Okay. So,
so that ratio, that liquidity ratio, we're 15 to 20%, whereas Pepe is like 0.2%, something like this, right?
Yeah. I think it's fundamental. Yep. It's fundamental.
Yeah.
But by the way, let's go forward. This is like more a financial thing that our marketing star. So, for example, and so this is the thing. Okay. So the Bazaar in our new stack, it will be like the real like center of the economy. Okay. Because what we figured it out during the development and thing is that, okay, so the future is about ecosystem. So legal money is dead. Okay, this idea about legal money is dead. I always said that I always thought it was a shit since the beginning. But I'm not the industry. But yeah. Because we have a lot of protocols which upgradable functions, which is not even by, by a multi-sig. How can I think that I will build an application on top of something that an offshore company or an offshore group of people without any law can change it tomorrow? It's crazy. It's a crazy idea.
We even talked about a while ago on the podcast, we talked about the Oasis DAO hack. They used a multi-sig to upgrade a contract and essentially steal hacker funds out of a vault by upgrading it because a court ordered them to upgrade it in such a way.
Is it legit?
So,
no, this happened.
Oh, it's not legit, but it happened.
A court ordered them to add add someone who the court said add this person to the multi-sig. That person was added to the multi-sig for like 97 minutes.
2 hours. Yep.
Approved several transactions that upgraded and rugged this vault.
Yep.
And returned funds that were initially hacked. These were originally hacked funds. They were returned through this.
Yep.
But this was a court-ordered upgrade your protocol, and was able to upgrade it in such a way that we're able to extract the stolen funds.
I think
bottom line, you build a backdoor, people will find a way to use that backdoor.
Yeah. But sorry if I go too philosophical for just 1 second. Never trust me when I say 1 second. But but man, you see how stupid we are as a humanity in general.
Yeah.
So we have freedom at some point, and every time we find excuses to give power to someone based on, oh, we do for your security, to steal your freedom. So for me, using a decentralized protocol, not upgradable, okay, in terms of changing me the rules when I have my liquidity there. It's my
Right.
freedom.
Yep.
And you can say
Yep.
all of the security or things shit you want, but I will never trust
Yeah.
your protocol.
The
I
base
prefer, in
layer.
this case, a
Absolutely.
company like Coinbase or USDT to say, okay, here, nothing is decentralized. So you're trusting me. I don't want to sell you decentralization. I'm like this. It's better than someone who say, we are decentralized, but we can update everything. And
Decentralization theater.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
but I think that also like is like upgradable in general is something which is a problem, because it's a problem even if you have a DAO in the service, because like
Yep.
it's a problem in any way. So I prefer, and we will always act like this in our releases, like for example what like the Uniswap team do. So we have this version, we will have the next version, you are able to use this version or the next version, but we will never update the version you are in.
Yep.
And you will always be able to use the old version if you want. So that's, I think, is the way that people should bid on Ethereum in general. Also because remember that you will never know when country will go to your multi-sig DAOs and they ask to do things
Yep.
for them. Trust me, nobody cares about your voting in this off-chain shit. So
Exactly.
let's go forward.
Exactly.
Let's go forward.
There
Yep.
wasn't
Let's go
even a
forward. So
snapshot poll for that.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, if people think a snapshot poll have value, they're very stupid. But let's go forward. And so, sorry, I have to say this. And so let's go forward. So we will integrate snapshot into the next release for people who want to use snapshot. I don't, but a lot of people want. So let's go for it.
Yep.
And so the idea to have this inflationary and deflationary thing was always like the most important factor. And so the Bazaar will be the base layer for the economy, because like a lot of applications that we built on top, it will be like, okay, this application is free to use, but you will lock liquidity into the Bazaar. And the more Bazaar is liquid, the more trades there are, and the more trades there are, the more earnings are for our DAO. Okay.
Yep.
And so the economy is changing into Bazaar earnings, factory of factory earnings that finally will go out, because we never have out these earnings. For example, we only had earnings from farming and from the inflation, and it's worked good in a closed beta. And you have the earnings from different of our factories, like I don't know, farming, for example, and you have the earnings from the investment fund, which is, if it's is used correctly, it will be another form of earnings, like also like during a bull market.
Yeah.
And all of these earnings, they will make, as they are making now, or as non now inflated, deflated, they will make non deflated. So the more earnings that I'll have, the more non is deflated. Also, we add this.
So deflationary, just like Ethereum.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also we add this function that we decide to put into non about the burn fee into the transaction. I will cover later the royalty because it's more complex. So what's happened is that it's becoming very common into a lot of tokens now, especially like into the memes ecosystem or stuff like this, to put the burn fee. Okay, and so this means that if you use these tokens like transferring, trading, okay, there is a burn fee who make all of the other holders, okay, to give to all the other holders like more deflation, okay. And people can say, oh, but there is a fee, or blah blah blah. Yeah, there is, but like it's automatically in our stack that these things never happened before in any other product. For any token existing like this, you have all of the portion of our stack which are whitelisted. So If you use it for use it in any delegation possible, you don't pay this tax. If you use it to vote anything, you don't pay this tax, and so on and so forth. And it will be like also different things in our stack that will let this go bigger and bigger. And so yeah, so it's this, and it will create like a huge benefit for pretty much everyone, because like we strongly believe that, remember that non is not money. It never been mentioned to be money. Non is the first ever test, research and development for a protocol equity, and we ever since Speedo wrote this into the website is not money. It's not something designed to have high frequency, to go into the bar and buy a coffee. Okay, this was always our research since the beginning. Okay. Second,
every lever is so carefully set up. No, every lever is so carefully set up for self-sustainability, for sustainability as an ecosystem, to sustainable, to keep the value in the ecosystem, right? I just want to call that out. I think that's amazing design.
Yeah. And this is also the benefit of having the vertical integration, the fact that your governance and your AMM and your token factory all come from one umbrella, the NONlabs, means that we have the ability to just automatically say, well, your governance address is whitelisted. It doesn't, you don't pay the tax to participate in the ecosystem, because we have all the pieces of the ecosystem. We know what all those are. Initially we can automatically anticipate and say, as long as you're using non within the ecosystem like this, you're not paying this burn tax. If you want to do it outside the ecosystem, it's part of it, but that goes towards enriching the rest of our ecosystem.
And also remember that the main goal for every project like Non is to let people ever possible have liquidity into the MM, or be active, active into the delegation system. Okay. So if you're non into a delegation system, is better because you are taking action. This is real voting. So you are taking actions with the grant to delegation in how, as a community, we are spending this money. And this is real action. So, for example, I can hint this in the next governance, and this will be for every governance created in our stack. In the next governance, automatically there will be different voting powers for people who have liquidity into the Bazaar, and for people who have their tokens into the delegation system. Because if you're active users who create value instead of just a holder who just don't use the things and chit chat, that's the real value. Be active in delegation is the most value you can do for your own bag in general. And also have liquidity. They are also like great people, because they are the people who risk to having permanent losses to let your token tradable. And so these guys are the real active guys into a community, not people that chit chat on Discord or on Telegram. This is real making actions.
I feel like that's like mic drop for game theory right there. Like, absolutely, right? I mean, this is, you talk about participation and incentivizing participation. This is like the silver bullet for that, right?
Yeah.
That is the perfect way to set up and incentivize real participation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not just like, for example, we have this 60% of the earnings from delegation grants, like into the non-beta. Okay. Like during this year and a half, their work for people who can participate, get money from this and make action was fundamental, for example. And that's it. So I think it's very easy to say, like, for example, we are a very technical project in general. Okay. it's very easy to say, oh, the price of the token dropped. Yeah, we are building. We have a budget. And the first things was to build these things instead of doing, like a very early advertising of this. But
Right.
all of the people from the community, they get more than 200 Ethereum to try to change the situation that the team didn't do with marketing before. And so that's the power of delegation. That's the power of the community.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep.
So yeah. So let's go for a second. And so this is the new economy. And so based on this new economy, like I think it will be very interesting, and we will do it. I sorry if I, that it's difficult for me to take the information internal, but it will be very interesting to have like a page to see like the current inflation deflation and the possible inflation deflation after, like and
Yeah.
and yeah. So the whole goal about this is to having like a real deflationary yield, like Ethereum itself, in the token. So when you
Right.
farm non in the future, you are not farming something which is inflationary, like the dollar or this kind of assets. You are farming something that is not inflation. So it's a different kind of yield, like what Ethereum
Yeah.
becomes, like for stakers. And
Right.
I think this economical factor, it will be the driver of the new economies in general. So creating these systems who have this inflationary and deflationary way, and creating this kind of yield, it will be like the next big thing in crypto that
Yeah.
was impossible or very difficult to create before.
Yeah. We and
Financial
Right.
that's
speaking.
interesting because we you talked about this is kind of fundamental to the sustainability aspect. This these new levers of thinking about inflationary and deflationary like that. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and it's really you want an economic
Very
system
cool.
where you need inflation for something like this, because for Ethereum you need the to secure the network. That's literally part of your security budget. In non, it's powering delegations, it's powering the
Yep.
team, it's powering other aspects of the protocol. So you need inflation, but you also don't really want an
Yep.
inflationary asset, because an inflationary asset trends to zero in the long term. So you have to have deflationary
Yep.
mechanisms to counteract that. And Ethereum, I mean, we're
Right.
net deflationary since the merge. I think it's like 250,000 ETH. More has been burned than issued.
Yep.
Crazy amount.
Yep.
But it's making it so it will trend to some amount of total ETH available in the future. It trends towards a value. And so the goal here is to have it not be so that, we just print infinite non over the course of, time, and token value goes to zero. The point is to try to balance this out, have, inflation, and we can reap the benefits of that, but also not have, an infinite number of tokens be in circulation after so long. We're trying to
Yeah.
it's working to strike the right balance. And Ethereum, it seems like it has a balance. We're working to find it, and this is a step towards that.
Yep. I want
Yep.
to also underline a very simple financial thing for everyone in the space. Okay. Uh, Earnings. With the NONnation, okay, for its structure, like we are helping every community to try to have fucking earnings. Because
Yep.
if you
Yep.
have a multi-sig to earn the money, you have a taxable problem and nobody wants earnings. But that's not the future, because
Yep.
remember that a protocol or a company who have earnings is for you as a holder, your security budget, to be sure that there is always someone who work on it. Trust me,
Yep.
that's from the
Exactly.
initial moment of the world and when we create the capitalism
Yeah.
and everything we have in our economy. That's the
That
basic
is
layer,
base
okay?
foundation. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. That's how his work works. Okay, it's not
Yep.
accept crypto. Trust me, in the long run.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and so like and so like for example, like the system is based on this. And just to say something, like based on our incredible technology that let you all there manage an economy of a protocol, finally protocol can have earnings that are not like hosted or managed by someone,
Right.
okay, but they are there.
Right.
And this means that the
Yep.
next wave of crypto project, there will be finally crypto project who earn money, because that's
Right.
fundamental. Okay,
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's fundamental.
And then let's see the innovation that is brought when we have sustainability and earnings and the right incentives in place, right? This is the missing key, and this is why everything ultimately rugs, right? And you have no value locked, right? And that's why the innovation disappears. And that's the part of the cycle that we're in right now. So
Yeah, yeah,
kudos to you.
yeah.
That's a great game theory to
Yeah.
build that properly.
I think one other thing that we haven't really talked about or has been mentioned too much is in the Bazaar, we now have the royalty fee for non.
Yep.
And when you're buying or selling from the LP pool, the total fee there is it 0.8%? Is that what it's going
Yeah.
to be in
So
total? Which is
I
less than the
think
1%.
it's
I think that's less than the
I think it's
1% pool we
7.
have right in Uniswap right now. It's
Yeah,
point 0.7
Yeah,
goes to, yeah, is it point 0.7
liquidity
total,
providers.
0.6%? Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
sorry.
is actually less fee than the current Uniswap V3 pool is set up to, which is a 1% fee.
yep,
Yeah, yeah. So the Bazaar is a very unique, system. Okay, because trades, they create yield, and yield, it's let you secure whenever happen, even if a project don't have a minimum of economical sustainability, like our farming thing, that someone have the incentive to add liquidity and to let your token liquid into the market, because that's the
yep,
real thing for everything. And remember that when people talk about impermanent losses, the more a pool is liquid, the less permanent losses there are, because the price change more less than
yep,
like when there is low
yep,
liquidity. And so what's happening to the Bazaar is pretty unique. So we have this, we have two fees, okay, to the Bazaar. So uh, you have the liquidity providers, they earn a fixed 0. 0.3 from every trade. It's like Uniswap V2, the real Uniswap V2. And there is like a 0.1% fee fixed for all of the trades that come from ETH that go to our DAO. And there is another 0.1% fixed that go to fill the next season of yield for liquidity providers. And in the Bazaar,
yep,
respect to every other EMMs, like liquidity provider is also a farmer. So when everyone have the liquidity, they earn the yield as farmers. There is no more two
yep,
different things, which I
Yeah.
think
yep.
doesn't make sense to MM to not have these things, in my personal opinion, but that's the other reason. And
That's why
and so that's it. Yeah. And so like imagine that when you're trade, you are paying like these two security things. Then if there is a collection or an RC20 who have royalties, because this also works for NFT collections, because remember that also like NFT collection are treated as token there. Um, yeah, really, you can add liquidity from your NFTs, and that's it. And so if there is royalties, the liquidity pool is became 1%, as the same as Uniswap V3, like into most of the pools. And like there is the 3% fixed for liquidity providers, the 1% from it that go to our DAO, and the 0.6% that go to the royalties owner. Obviously, for non, it will be our DAO too, so it will be a total of 7% that go
Yep.
to the DAO.
Yep.
And from the other side, which is making it cooler, when there is royalty, still 1% when you trade from ERC20, so from NON. And all of these NON will cover more the incentive to have liquidity. So the next season of
The farming
of
rewards,
farming.
yeah.
And there is orders because people, they don't understand these order things because it's totally new for the space. We have this kind of like of orders. Imagine like these orders as Binance or a better version of Blur. Okay. And so you have these orders and they can be partially filled. And so it's totally like orders as you are into checks. And these orders also, they have their own fees that go to the liquidity providers. And so liquidity providers have this more and more fees from also like trades who are not there. And into orders, based on the royalty, because orders, they read like the real royalty. So it's not a fixed royalties if the royalty is active, but there is like, the collection royalty or the real royalty into the royalty standard.
Did we lose Toschi?
And this will be 1% that
There
go
he
to
is.
the DAO.
Nice.
Yep.
And so it will be very interesting because also like I think that into the Bazaar like orders, it will be like a calculable new portion of liquidity, and it will be very interesting because people can finally like, okay, I want to sell this token at this price, which is something that is kind of like impossible to do it now if you want to do it in a decentralized way, because don't tell me that add liquidity into this 1v3 and expecting that the price don't go to the other side is not a way to make orders.
Exactly.
That's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
And this is for the first time into the whole ecosystem, so people can say, oh, I want to sell this token at this price. Oh, let's put it, and when it's happened. Which is like
Limit orders are
They
here.
just accept it as part of life these days, and it's not exactly.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that way.
But and also you have zero price impact in orders. So
Yep.
if you just put the liquidity there to sell a token into the price you want, you don't pay zero from this, which is also cooler. And so imagine like the power of matching this liquidity plus orders that will be for traders. It will be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Well,
I say it all the time. People have never seen a token like this. Never seen a token like this. We've never seen an ecosystem that has these flywheels to lock real value like this. I mean, it's it's going to blow people's minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is every project is grow the market cap to here, and then you see this huge rush to the doors, and everybody ends up being somebody's exit liquidity, things like this, right? Non is built for real value. Non is built to keep value in the ecosystem, to benefit the holders, to benefit participants, to benefit people who believe in the ecosystem, in what will be built, the real innovation layer, once these things go out the door, right?
Yeah.
Remind me to put that in short.
And we will talk about that all next week. We're going to wrap up here for this week. This has been the going over our marketing strategy, going over the new non-token. If you've had questions that you want us to answer, go drop them in the Twitter thread that's going to be down here. Go drop them there, and we will be hosting an AMA about 24 hours after this goes live. So post your questions there. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the Twitter spaces. Next week, we are back for another episode of the non-weekly update. And we will be covering
non-briefing every single week in and week out.
We will be back, and we will be doing an overview of the entire ecosystem as it stands, what you can expect to see coming out. We're going to cover everything from the Bazaar to the factories to entities to our governance tools, the DeFi tools. So we will be going over all of that next week. We'll try to have some nice infographics here, and we will see you then. Until then, we'll see you in the Twitter spaces. Have a good rest of your week. NONnation out.
And don't forget to come to the AMA.
Yeah, and remember to write some questions into the space.
Yep. Yep.
Like since you see this video, and it will be very very interesting to discuss with you
Yep.
tomorrow
That's right.
for you.
Expect this going forward. Thanks, Toschi. Thanks,
Yeah.
JPN. Good one.
Thank you
All right.
all.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care.